My brother, welcome to the latest episode of the Have It All Marriage for the Have It All Life podcast, where your marriage has a 100% chance of success if you do it God's way. And this part of doing it God's way that I want to talk about today is the idea that our thoughts drive our life. And the way that we get those thoughts is through experiences. So as a man who is to love his wife as Christ loved the church, Christ leads us by providing a frame. And that frame contains the bounds of our thinking. And as long as this frame is strong enough to contain our thinking is then inside his frame. And when it's inside his frame, it causes us to have thoughts and feelings and emotions and beliefs and then actions that lead to our salvation. Now, what Satan wants to do is he wants to destroy that frame. He wants you to think outside that frame. And so this is the clear line between sin and righteousness. This is the idea, could God be a woman? Could God be a tree or a rock? Or is there even any God at all? So what Jesus does is he gives us this frame and he clearly defines the bounds. And then by giving us experiences, he keeps us in that frame. So as we approach the subject of winning our wife back, we're going to do the same thing. And the way that we're going to do that is we're going to create a frame that is so strong and has so much certainty that it literally causes our wife's thoughts to remain inside this frame. Now, look, man, I know this sounds manipulative, and I know that there's probably feminists that are going crazy. But what I've got to tell you, man, is that this is a principle of leadership. This is how we lead people to their best idea of their best self and their best idea of their best future. Because we put frames around our children. We want them to think inside this frame of you do not get into cars with strangers. If you get into cars with strangers, you are no longer safe. So all of our thinking has to be around, well, what happens if somebody says it's your mom, she's hurt? Like, you need to talk to your kids about that. And by doing that, you're strengthening your frame. How about you have code words that if your mom really is hurt, we use the word pterodactyl, and then they know that it's safe to get in the car with you. How about having them memorize their phone number? How about teaching them all about stranger danger? All of this is building a frame. So you might ask, well, Bob, how do I build that frame with my wife inside the bounds of our marriage? And what I want to tell you is that the borders of the frame are built by the experiences that you give your wife. If you give your wife experiences that lead her to believe that she is safe with you, to lead her to believe that she is happy with you, to lead her to believe that her life is not boring with you, to lead her to believe that her future is secure with you, to lead her to believe that you take care of yourself and your wife and your children and your business and your responsibilities and your finances and your spiritual leadership, to lead her to believe that you don't hurt her, to lead her to believe that you're taking care of her, to lead her to believe that you're going to be in a good mood most of the time, to lead her to believe that you have the super ninja power to be able to lift her emotional state most of the time, to lead her to believe that you're going to be self-aware, to lead her to believe that you're in control of your own emotions and you're not going to freak out if she freaks out, to lead her to believe that you are capable of making changes, to lead her to believe that you actually care about her life and her experience with you and what that's like for her. And I could go on and on and on, man. And so really what we're doing is we're starting to dip our toe into this elite level husband behavior. But what you've got to understand is that so much of this experience, like I keep harping, is how you show up. It's what she's reading in your eyes. It's the tone of your voice. It's the smell of your sweat. It's the smell of your skin. It's the electromagnetic energy coming off your heart and the micro expressions on your face. All of these things contribute to each and every experience. And so if you start thinking and you start reverse engineering, how am I going to build a frame around thoughts in my wife's head that she is better off with me? Now, again, I can hear the feminists screaming and yelling and saying this is mansplaining or this is manipulative or whatever. Dude, it is absolutely not. It is loving her the way Christ loved the church. If you look at what Jesus did to us, he built an unbreakable, impenetrable frame around the fact that he is the only way, truth, and light to the Father. Now, I'm not telling you to go tell your wife that you are the only way, truth, and light to happiness, to marital bliss, to the Father, or anything like that. But what I am telling you is that every single interaction you have with your wife becomes part of either strengthening or weakening the frame that your wife needs to have in order to keep her thinking on the inside of, let's stay in this marriage. Let's work on this marriage. This marriage is worth saving. This man is the one I want to be with. This man is improving himself. This man is getting better. This man is ahead of me. This man is leading me. I want to be led by this man. I want to be loved by this man. I want to raise children with this man. I want to have fun with this man. I want to have sex with this man. Do you understand what I'm saying here, brother? Like, so many men, they just don't understand, and they just leave all of this, they throw caution to the wind, and they leave all of this to the birds and the bees and the hormones and the he's a person, she's a person, let's just be people, and we sign this piece of paper, so it's just supposed to work. Well, brother, it doesn't just work unless you build a frame. Okay, so what is a frame? A frame is an agreed upon set of assumptions from which we are going to operate. So what is her agreed upon set of assumptions? Her agreed upon set of assumptions are you're never going to raise a hand to her. You're not going to cheat on her. You're going to make sure that she feels like she's being put first almost all the time, if not all the time, only second to God. You're not going to lay a hand on your kids. You're going to love your kids. You're going to raise your kids. You're going to be financially secure. You're going to be physically fit. You're going to lift. You're going to get your doctor's appointments. You're going to stay healthy. You're going to care about her feelings. You're going to, quote, see her, hear her, cherish her, nourish her, nurture her. You're going to give her romantic times. You're going to give her tender times. You're going to give her loving times. You're going to ease her suffering by lessening it, or by suffering in her place, or by suffering with her if you can't take it away from her. You're going to increase her joy. You're going to do this by being in a blissful mood around her and being happy when she's in the room, by making every moment count, by not discounting her or dismissing her. And I could go on for hours, man, but you get the picture. When you break these things, you break the frame. And the frame is what is causing her to think, I want to work on this marriage. I want to stay in this marriage. The minute you break that frame, it's like all of a sudden that it starts oozing out. And now all of a sudden her thoughts have the ability to go anywhere. That maybe that guy is better, or maybe that guy is better, or maybe I'm better alone, or I'll be an old cat lady and I'll just never remarry, but I don't need this kind of garbage in my life. Do you see this, brother? Do you see how important this frame is? And so the strength of the frame is equal to the strength of your masculine character. Let me say that again. The strength of the frame is equal to the strength of your masculine character. The stronger your character, the stronger your frame. I even sometimes call it the core frame. And there's 4 sides to the frame. How strong is your body? How strong are you as being fit? How strong are your finances? How much money do you have, and how much can you continue to make, and how secure can you make her feel financially? The other one is how much can you lead her spiritually? How strong are you in your faith? And how strong are you able to lead her, motivate her, influence her, and inspire her to strengthen hers? And the same for the children. And then, of course, how strong is your family? How good are you at relationships? How are you able to lead and navigate those relationships? Now, listen, man, before anybody starts putting that ridiculous nonsense about cucks or incels or simps, man, you know what? Jesus was meek, but we understand that that was power under control. We understand that when they were nailing him to the cross, he could have twisted their heads off with a thought. He could have hung them upside down on the cross with a thought. But he chose to keep his power under control. He chose love instead. He chose taking the high road. He wasn't down in despair and shame and guilt and anger. He was up in unconditional love and forgiveness. Let me tell you something, man. It takes a very, very strong man to do that. I'm not in any way advocating that you just lay down and let your wife walk all over you. But here's what I'm telling you. If you anger weakens your frame. Pride weakens your frame. Apathy weakens your frame. Guilt weakens your frame. Shame weakens your frame. Indifference weakens your frame. All of those negative emotions, all of those, they just cause her to start having thoughts about this marriage is not working, and what am I going to do about that? So what you need to do is you need to work on courage. You need to work on acceptance. You need to work on willingness. You need to work on love. You need to work on kindness and forgiveness. And you need to be so strong in your character that that frame is so strong that there's no room for her thoughts to leak out. So you might be wondering at this point, well, Bob, what does a guy do if he's already broken his frame? What does he do if you never build a strong frame to begin with? What I want to tell you is that the good news here is that the stronger frame always absorbs the weaker frame. It's not too late to build your frame. Start building your frame. Start working on your core frame. Start working on being better in your body. Start working on being better in relationships. Start working on being better with God. Start working on being better with money. And as you do these things, your frame gets stronger. And sooner or later, her frame starts to feel like it doesn't fit. Her frame feels like, you know what, maybe her frame is, this marriage isn't working. And all of her thoughts are contained inside that frame. And she's thinking, it's not working. It's never going to work. I've given him all these chances. You know what? I've got to start divorcing him mentally, emotionally. I've got to figure out how I'm going to move out, where I'm going to come up with the money. That's her frame. But her frame is weak, brother. Make yours stronger. Be masculine. Hers is a feminine frame. It is therefore weak. Go check out 1 Peter. Hers is weaker than yours. Yours can absorb hers. But it can only absorb hers if it is strong and if it is righteous and if it is of Christ, if it is as Christ loves his church. So as you begin to look at this and you begin to look at how can I build a strong frame that mimics Christ loving his church, what you've got to do is you got to figure out, I need help. Like, you're not going to figure that out on your own. Now maybe you can, man. Maybe you can take 10 years and figure it out. Where's your wife going to be in 10 years? So if you want to collapse 10 years into a short number of weeks, then here's what I have for you. I want you to go start learning about this process at www.realmanrevolution.com, www.realmanrevolution.com, and we will take you step by step through exactly how to build a frame strong enough that your wife will willingly lay down hers and step inside yours. That's marriage. That is masculine love. That is masculine leadership. And that's what we teach you. www.realmanrevolution.com, and I'll see you on the other side.